And now northbound 5 freeway. Really picking up the speed here, northbound 5 freeway, coming up to Hollywood Way again. The 3 pursuits we've had here in the last hour. And so this has really been kind of an active evening here. See, just really flying along, passing traffic. 5's over on the west side. Continuing along. LAPD air unit's the only one with him right now. At one point they did lose him, and we were able to direct Air 16 back to the vehicle. He dropped off a female right next to the airport, and right off Clybourne. And now on the run here, you see her just blasting through traffic, making the turn here, continuing northbound on the 5 freeway here. Still coming along northbound 5 freeway, coming up to Lancashire. And here as we go, continuing on in the HOV lane here, making its way around. This will take us right back up into the area where this other pursuit was. And this one here is really at high speeds on the 5 freeway. I would estimate probably in the 100-mile-an-hour range right now, from what I can tell from my airspeed and the ground vehicles there. And continuing around as we approach, coming through Sheldon will be the next off-ramp that he could hit. And working his way northbound, just using all lanes of traffic to keep his speed up. There are no police cars that I can see within sight, so it's all LAPD right now. Still all LAPD air unit right now as we approach the 170 here. That's going to be Sheldon right there. He's going under, and then he'll make the turn here. We'll put him onto the right under the 170 where it joins the northbound 5 freeway here through Arleta and Pacoima border. Merged onto the 5 freeway here. The next ramp will be Brantford. We'll see what he does here. He's going around traffic, just using all lanes to maintain his speed. As you can see, they're using the shoulder as well. And now traffic will be coming in from his left. As we continue on here, LAPD area staying right with him, coming up to Osborne. And not really sure what the want on this was. We have to get information from our desk to see exactly, but we were on another story after breaking off that last pursuit, and then this one drove right under us, right at the 170 and about Victory. Hey, Simon Desk Guy 5, what was the want on this one? Did you get it? You see pushing around the... say it again? Okay, copy stolen. And you can see we've just been advised by our assignment desk that it's a stolen vehicle, and coming up to Van Nuys Boulevard here. Northbound 5 freeway, approaching the 118. He's just in and out of traffic using all lanes. And here he goes, passing cars in the HOV lane. Now he's coming up to the 118. And he's looks like he's going to be committed to the 5 freeway unless he makes a big dive to the right. Really high rate of speed here, as you see. Continuing along and passing the 118 freeway. At Chris, my photographer, said it looked like he might be on a cell phone. You can see through the window. As we continue along here, no ground units on this pursuit. And still going through Paxton. He's over to the right lane here, kind of working his way north on the 5 freeway. continuing here through Grand Street or Brand Street as we continue north here, making our way up into the Sylmar area. And very high rate of speed, like I said, going through traffic. Five, copy. And they're asking for CHP's help now on this. Seeing it's on the freeway, and they have no ground units anywhere near this. I'm looking back. Oh, I see about 3 units, probably about a mile back, working their way northbound through traffic. Up. Just did a 405 merge right here. And continuing on, I see a police unit up ahead here, positioning himself at an on-ramp here. Now he's using the shoulder to get by traffic right there as he pushes along. And coming up to the next off-ramp here, we'll see what he does there. But there is a police car down below the freeway, kind of keeping an eye out to see which way he's going to go. He's holding the far right lane. This could be the exit lane. Yeah, it looks like he's taking the exit lane. And down the... Getting off at Roxford here off the 5 freeway. See which way he goes off Roxford. And looks like he's going to making a left turn underneath the freeway, and he's nowhere to go here except back on the freeway. Yep, back on the freeway. Made that U-turn around underneath and back on the freeway, southbound 5 freeway, or 5 freeway, going back towards the 405. Got your 4, and 5 is going to slide over to the east side as well. Got both of you here. And coming up to the 405 split. And let's see what he does here, if he's going to take the 5 south or the 405 south. Looks like he's holding the 5 freeway. Yeah, he's committed to the 5. Continuing along here. Southbound 5. Really cooking along back here. And what these guys do is they'll go back and forth, working an area they know. Like the last group like the last guy we just chased, he ran through the same area about 3 or 4 times, and finally back off of Orion there, same area that he was in the alleys. He bailed out, and LAPD got one in custody very quickly, got the other one kind of hemmed up in an apartment building. So, they don't do it every time, but most of the time these guys kind of try to stay in an area they're familiar with. But this guy dropped off his girlfriend or a female off over by Van Nuys Airport, Burbank Airport, and then bailed out and left her there and took off again. Southbound 5 freeway here, HOV lane coming up to the 118. Continuing now, here's the 118 coming up. Under the 118. CHP says they're en route, but this guy's going so fast, they're going to have to hopefully get somebody out in front of him here to catch up with him, because the units that were a mile behind him are now nowhere in sight. When he made that U-turn, they had a long way to go to make the U-turn to come back with him. So no ground units anywhere near this guy right now. It's LAP air unit all by himself calling the pursuit for him. And we're continuing south 5 freeway, coming through again the Pacoima Arleta area, coming up to Terabella. Will be crossing over here in a second. Next off ramp he's going to have will be Osborne. Yeah, coming up to Osborne. And heading down, next off ramp will be Brantford as we did the same run northbound. Taking him down to he's in the HOV lane. Now this could very easily put him on the 170. And that's where it started, on the 170 coming northbound. He got off at Sherman Way, took Sherman Way east towards Burbank, and then got back on the 5 freeway. Now he's out of the HOV lane, and we're coming up to the, he just went around traffic. Looked like we're going to take the, nope, we're staying HOV lane for the 5 freeway. So continuing south 5 freeway. He thought he was going to take that flyover for the HOV, but continuing now eastbound or southbound 5 freeway from the 170. Sorry I'm so far back, but I got these two guys in front of me here. I got to. Anyway, he's continuing now. Southbound here, coming up to Lankershim. Blacked out. Oh man, blacked out on the freeway here. So people on the freeway are never going to see him coming, and that's the problem. There's no police cars around him and no issues like that. And so I mean, the problem is. They're not going to know this guy's on him, and you might get a lane change on him. So we got to be really careful. Really. Yeah. Oh, just cutting through traffic. They're passing that big rig here, southbound 5 freeway, coming up to, let's see here. This is going to be, I believe, the Glen Oaks off-ramp. Just going right back down where he got on the freeway. So this is interesting here. This has all the earmarks of a real bad ending here with this blacked out, so people can't see him coming. You might end up with somebody just making a lane change for him. He's just blasting through traffic here. It's just amazing he's got as much running room as he does here on the 5 freeway. So it's quite a spectacle. He has real wide sweep there going around that turn on the freeway, and off to the right shoulder here, and right shoulder, holding that right shoulder up against the sound wall. We're coming up to Hollywood Way. Yep, Hollywood Way again. And coming down Hollywood Way to the bottom to see how much brakes he has left when he gets to the bottom of this ramp. And on the brakes hard, sliding through, right through the delineators there, back underneath the freeway, North Hollywood Way. And he stopped. All right, back. Yeah, there he is. Cars. They're pointing back to the east, running. The people are pointing back to the east. And I don't know if there's people right there may have. There might be. They got citizens helping out here, saying he ran towards the Shell station here. I got you. Anyways, working. Heard information from witnesses. He went in. Down the wash. Here's the wall down. Where's Ramada Inn's not right here, is it? Yeah, I thought Ramada's back up the. We had nobody come out of our side. What's that? No, none of us had him come out. Man. Yeah. Well, they say they said it to disregard the the southbound or westbound, if you want to call it. Yeah, because we stayed on the east side. We didn't see him come out the east side, right? Unless he just button hooked. Oh, there you are. Forgot I had a news show coming up. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, which pursuit? Oh, I didn't get. No, where is it? Go to Burbank. Roger. Okay. Well, I can tell you, Ben, this was a very wild pursuit. You can see that black car wedged up on the sidewalk right under the 5 freeway here at Hollywood Way. The suspect was speeding all through the Burbank Van Nuys, went all the way up into Sylmar on the 5 freeway, came back down, got off here. But at one point, when we first picked it up, he bailed out, had a female bail out of the car right by Burbank Airport, and then he took off. And now we're getting reports that Burbank PD possibly is chasing the suspect because they lost sight of him. They were so far behind this pursuit that they couldn't get to the guy, and he bailed out on foot and took off running. And so right now we're getting reports from Burbank PD that he's being chased by Burbank PD right now. We're going to keep an eye right here and then try to go over and catch that pursuit. But right now, this stolen vehicle, very high rate of speed through the area, coming to an end right here at Hollywood Way and the 5 freeway. The suspect outstanding, and now getting reports of him had carjacked another vehicle and is being pursued by Burbank PD. So we'll try to catch up with that and bring that to you as well. So that's the latest from over Burbank. Lisa, back to you. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Copy. And 5's breaking off from the group here, heading south. I got him down there. Tower TV5, we're breaking off from up here Hollywood Way into 5, heading down to the south of the others. Okay, we got the air unit. We'll catch it. Westbound Magnolia. Copy. Okay, and you said he took an Ford 150, and they hearing him talk about it. It's a westbound Magnolia. Do you have Burbank up yet? I don't know. I'm just flying in on the air units here. We had him on camera here a second ago. Yeah, we're hearing it. We're hearing he's approaching the 170. We got him down here to the south. He's real high rate of speed. It's on the 134. Five's coming in behind you, 7. You got an airship over you. Yeah. Okay, Deb, if you hear me, we're back with the suspect here. Hey, just confirming Nydia that this is the suspect. Okay. Location is now 134 from the 170. Possible carjacking with a victim in the car. Coming in behind you, 7. Coming to me. Can you call the flight there, Brennan? I can't call it. 134 passing Coldwater. Okay, I'm ready to go. 90 seconds. Use my Top Gun thing. It'll be over in 90 seconds. No, they're back there. That's a PD ship down low, right? Yeah, I'm right behind you. Let's just see who that low guy was. All right.
Now back to breaking news, a pursuit that ended in Burbank and now another one involving a possible carjacking and the potential that this could be connected to the pursuit that just ended. Tim, do you know?
Yes, we do know. Apparently the Burbank PD coming into the area got witness information that the suspect carjacked this Ford F-150 here and took off. They got in pursuit, came down Magnolia from the Burbank Airport area from where the termination of the LAPD pursuit was. We are now westbound on the 101, approaching the 170 here. You can see him there going over the site, and what we've got information that he possibly has a hostage in this vehicle, or maybe the owner that was in the car. It looks like we're transitioning now for the 170. Let's see what he does here as he comes around through the interchange of the 170, coming over the top and continuing through, but as we come along, actually this is a 405. I'm sorry, it's a 405, going to be taking southbound 405. We got a little further ahead than I expected here. But like I said, Burbank PD was coming into the area to assist LAPD with this pursuit, and they got information from a witness and was able to catch this car and now chase it, and they've lost contact with it. But luckily, we had an LAPD area unit overhead. There he is. His light just popped on. Picking up this pursuit now as we turn southbound on the 405 freeway. So this has been becoming a very dynamic situation here. It was a stolen car before with that car he ditched underneath the 5 freeway at Glen Oaks and then ran on foot and apparently carjacked this truck. So here we go, southbound 405 freeway climbing up through the Sepulveda Pass, and LAPD is the only one on him now. They finally caught up. Burbank PD is backed out because they lost sight of him as they approached the 405 freeway because of the speeds and the traffic. He was just in and out of traffic. So very, very dangerous pursuit. Now a very dynamic situation since you have a possible hostage or the owner of the vehicle in the car with him. So right now we're just going to have to follow it, see what happens here. But luckily his speeds of 5's on the west, and so he kind of dropped his speed down here just a little bit. So that's kind of a good news for this car here, because before, man, he was just in and out of traffic, and it's just a matter of a small move that make him lose control. But you see here now he's just a little bit faster in the flow of traffic. We're approaching Mulholland now. This black Ford F-150 here was taken right after that suspect bailed out of the stolen car at Hollywood Way, as I said. So been a very active night here in the Valley. We had one pursuit that went on for about 45 minutes, went all through the Van Nuys area, went all the way up through Pacoima, Arleta, and then that one ended up with a foot pursuit. The second one broke out. We chased that one. You saw us in there at Hollywood Way, and now the third one. So a very active night for LAPD and the area. CHP has been notified on this and have been asked to come in and try to get in position to take over the ground pursuit. But you see now he looks like he might be getting off here. This is going to be, I believe, Mulholland off here as he comes off. We'll see what he does here. In the other pursuit, he kept getting off the freeway. Yep, all right. He kept getting off the freeway and making U-turns, getting back off like southbound, turning around, going over the top, and then getting back on northbound. So we'll see what he does here as he comes through, dropping out. I believe this is Sepulveda that he's on right now, going down the side of the freeway here. This parallels the 405 freeway through the Sepulveda Pass. And I'm looking out the window trying to find him here. So he's continuing south on Sepulveda, and right now going to go by. You'll see the 405 freeway just above him, but this takes him down into the area, just parallels the freeway along. There's some residential areas up in this part of the town too through Sepulveda Pass, so you could possibly get involved there. But here you go, just continuing in here, very slow on down, very slow to where he's not really. So hopefully he's just lost now. He has no idea where he got off, trying to find that on-ramp to get back on the freeway. But this will take us over the hill down into the west side as he parallels along this Sepulveda along the freeway. So anyway, so as we continue on here, we'll see what he does. We're just kind of keeping our eye. He blacked out here. Now he's blacked out.
Yeah, he did that in the first pursuit in the sedan that he was driving, turning the lights off and going well over 100 miles an hour, Tim, at some points going so fast that authorities had a hard time catching up with him on the ground.
That's right. That's right. He had basically outrun the police a couple times here. He just got way ahead of them, and traffic took them out, so they couldn't keep up with him. So the air units have been doing yeoman's work up here, keeping track of these people. At one point, they lost him completely, and we used our Night Sun to get the police helicopter back onto the car he'd abandoned and get him back onto the pursuit. So we help out as much as we can here in the from the media side. And here he's getting back up here. It looks like it might be getting on the freeway. He's on the east side of the freeway making the turn. Yeah, it looks like we're getting back on the southbound 405 freeway. Northbound 405 freeway as we come around. And 5's coming to a stop, pedal turning back north. And as we come around here, pick him up back northbound. So that's probably what he tried to do at Mulholland, and he just kind of messed himself up doing that. So going back to familiar territory again, like when he was in the other car, the sedan he had abandoned, he was all over the place on the 170 across Burbank through the airport area, then raced around, got on that northbound 5, went all the way up into Sylmar, then came back southbound and then got off Hollywood Way and then bailed out of the car. So doing the same things that he did before as we went around the area, the valley around Burbank and Van Nuys and those areas. So he's kind of doing the same pattern here, continuing on. And the air unit's over him, but they're not really lighting him up that much. I mean, with their Night Sun. So I don't know if they're doing that on purpose or what, but it makes it difficult for us to kind of keep track of which pickup truck we're chasing it sometimes. But Chris Haug doing a great job on camera, sticking with this guy through all these turns as we work our way back northbound towards Mulholland here on the northbound 405 freeway. And luckily, he slowed down just a little bit, but there is traffic up ahead that's going to slow him down as we make this little bend to the right.
So, Tim, right now all we have are the police helicopters over him. We don't have anybody else in pursuit, no CHP, no LAPD?
No, that's it. Just the police helicopter over him right now. I've seen police units on both sides of the freeway. Now I see units. You saw them just go through the shot there. They're coming over the top of I believe it's Mulholland down here. It's one of the crossovers south of or north of Mulholland. So they're probably going to drop in front of him. But yeah, their police units trying to catch up, like he did before. He keeps making these U-turns, so all the units racing southbound to catch him now have to go all the way up, make that U-turn, catch up. So now there's units out ahead of him, and trying to catch up. Now there is a CHP unit coming up the right shoulder behind him, should he engage, and they're coordinating with LAPD on the radio, trying to get an idea where he's at. Now they're going to be catching up with him. I see one unit's probably a quarter mile behind him, and there's units way out ahead of him as well. So it's just a matter of time before they have a bunch of police cars on him. And they just confirmed it's a carjacking with now a kidnap with the person who's in the car. So there you go, man. This thing has turned from a little stolen vehicle, which is not really a giant deal, but now turned into a kidnap, robbery, and carjacking. So it's really accelerated here, and now we'll see what this guy is going to do when we continue on here, coming back down north on the 405 freeway, approaching the 101 freeway. So let me send it back to you just for a second as I check in through Van Nuys Airport's airspace.
Okay. And as we see right now, the suspect, it looks like he's starting to pick up some speed with some police behind him, authorities behind him. It looks like they've got their lights going on. This, again, we're hearing from the police scanner. They say that they believe that this is the same guy from the pursuit right before 10 o'clock that ended in the NoHo area and then abandoned his car. There was a brief he bailed out on foot pursuit, and then carjacked this car and has possibly the driver of the car, but there is somebody else in there. It's now considered a kidnapping at this point. So a pursuit, carjacking, and kidnapping at this point that's happening right now. And
when the suspect bailed from the first car, it was beneath the freeway overpass, so the airships lost sight of him for several minutes before authorities on the ground, LAPD and Burbank police assisting, found this F-150 in the position that it's in and took chase. This suspect, several minutes ago, I would say more than a half an hour ago, at the beginning of the first pursuit in a different car that was, authorities said, a stolen car, had a female passenger in the car when police started chasing him. He pulled off, allowed her to get out of the car, actually opened the door for her, then jumped back in through the passenger side door and got back behind the wheel and took off. And at that point, he jumped on the 5 freeway northbound and began driving at speeds well over 100 miles an hour. If you heard us talking a few moments ago, he was at one point going so fast that authorities on the ground were having a hard time catching up to him. They were several miles behind him, and now you see they've managed to get much closer, of course, in this F-150, not going nearly as fast as he was in the initial pursuit. But one pursuit begets another, and the list of charges is growing by the minute for the suspect.
Yeah, and he is picking up speed as he's being pursued by authorities behind him. And let's go up to Tim Lynn right now in Sky 5 for more. Tim?
Yeah, well, CHP is right on him now, and that's why he's picked up the speed. As soon as they pulled in behind him, as he came up to that 101, he picked up the speed. Now we're continuing on here. We're going through Sherman Way right now, continuing on northbound on the 405 freeway. Yeah, he's really got rolling here pretty quick as they came in behind him. And like I said, yeah, laundry list of charges, but right now, kidnap, robbery, and carjacking is at the top of the hit parade here for this guy. And pretty much he's going to be in for a rude awakening once he gets stopped, because unless he does what he did before, pull up underneath the freeway and bail out there, but getting away from the ground units, because it's very difficult sometimes for the area unit to stay with him. But we were able to help the LAPD area units along with the other media helicopters up here to keep tabs of where he might have gone, and luckily Burbank PD coming in to assist was able to get witness information and also to find this car. So it's quite a night here in the valley for these pursuits, and for this guy here, 2 pursuits, 2 different vehicles, and kind of racing around the same area here. So we'll see what happens when he gets up to the 118, if he takes it back to the east to get back where he kind of was at the beginning. As we continue now right along, I'm looking up, I'm seeing the CHP blocking on-ramps now, trying to thin out the freeway traffic for this guy. And they do that, they'll get ahead of the pursuit, get on the on-ramps, stop the on-ramps from coming on the freeway. And that helps thin out the traffic. And now the units that are behind him, they're now coordinating with the police area unit above, so they can kind of calm down and get a little bit further back from him and not have to worry about keeping eyes on him if he does, but stay close enough to where they can jump in there, because there's no reason to get too close to him. But this one CHP officer's hot on his tail right now, just caught up with him. So they're in the process. They're trying to keep track of him on the ground. And this one unit here might be a slick top here, or I believe it might be just a regular, we call slick top with no overhead. And he's continuing now, getting onto the right lane as we approach the 118 freeway. We'll see what he does when he gets up here to the 118. But before we had the pursuit, he got up on the 405 into 5 and made the U-turn at Roscoe on the 5 and came back down south. So it's anybody's guess what's going to happen here. But he's definitely keeping his speeds up now, holding the right lanes. Here comes up for the interchange here. He's in the lanes for the 118 now, unless he makes the turn. And now we're committed to the 118 freeway, and see which way he goes here at the top of the Gore Point. It looks like it might be westbound here, unless he jerks to the right. And eastbound 118, committed eastbound 118 now, working his way around the flyover. As we continue on, this will take us back over into the Arleta-Pacoima area as we come around the turn here, holding pretty good speeds as he makes that turn, and staying in the right lane. So driving this car a little more cautiously than he did the sedan he was in. That one there, he was just pedal to the metal through the whole pursuit, and that's one of the reasons why the ground units couldn't keep up with him. And he also, on this one here, he lost the Burbank PD on the freeway because of his high speeds and whipping through traffic. They gave a better idea to stop chasing him and back out of the pursuit for an abundance of caution for the units, so they don't want to cause any problem for folks on the road. But this guy is really making his way here eastbound 118, coming up to the 5 freeway now, kind of holding that right lane. Looks like he might be taking the 5 southbound, and yep, transitions 5 southbound now as we work our way through between Arleta and Pacoima, making the turn around the corner here. CHP directly behind him in a unit. Looks like I said, unmarked, not a marked, but a flat top with no overheads. So that's why we're not really seeing the flashing lights like you normally do. But here we go, southbound 5 freeway from the 118.
Yeah, this truck is not going to handle like the sedan did in the car that he was driving in the first portion of this pursuit before he jumped out and managed to carjack this F-150. We don't yet know any details on how he was able to take control of this truck, but authorities, Tim, you would have to believe, will assume he is armed.
Yeah, that's what the assumption is always on these types of things, because you have to take that in account that he's possibly armed, because you can always come down in your force versus having to catch up if he bails out of the car with a gun. I haven't heard the information myself. You may have heard it from our desk if he was armed getting into this car, but right now I'm not sure personally up here. I did not hear that information. But if I was a policeman in pursuit down there, I definitely would consider this guy armed and dangerous, because just his actions here gives you an idea that he has no care for anybody else except himself. Doesn't care about that passenger. Is probably terrified in the car with him. So you just have to take that in mind as you're chasing him. Keep your head in the game and keep your emotions under control, because this is a very high speed and dangerous pursuit that we're doing here. But we're heading southbound, coming up to the 170, and see if he goes underneath the 170 for that South 5. And that's going to take him right where he bailed out before. So this is exactly what he did before he bailed out. So here we go, southbound 5 freeway from the 170, working our way back down into the Burbank area. And CHP is on him. CHP helicopter is here as well, and keeping track of this thing. Everybody is now well engaged on the pursuit. We have a lot of ground units well aware of the pursuit, so hopefully when he goes to ground or comes to a stop and tries to run, there's going to be plenty of blue suits and tan suits right on his tail coming out of this truck. But he is really flying in this truck, and like you said, Micah, not as much maneuverability in the truck with a light rear end like this. He makes a really fast turn. That tail end will come right around. Looks like we're coming off on Lankershim here off the 5 freeway. CHP right behind him. It looks like a lot of the civilian car right there between the police cars and the suspect vehicle, making the turn around here, coming to a stop. Coming to a stop at the ramp here right at Lankershim. Okay, we're going to stop here. 5's coming to a stop and see what happens here. Units are all the way around him, and now he's back on the gas. Coming up to Lankershim, turning northbound Lankershim, going to go back over the top of the 5. And now he's northbound on Lankershim, now getting back on the freeway, northbound 5 freeway now for the 5 freeway. So he's done this several times. So here we go, continuing this pursuit. I don't know what that was all about. Maybe she was giving him grief in the car trying to get out, and he was trying to get her out. So I'm hoping the victim could have got out at that point, but apparently no luck for her or for the person in the car. So here we go, back northbound 5 freeway from Lankershim.
And it seems that this is, as time and time tells, when we watch these pursuits, they do tend to go to areas that they're familiar with. And as we've been watching this pursuit go on now for about a half an hour, a little bit under half an hour, we see him going from the West 101 to the South 405 to the eastbound 118 freeway to the 5 South and to the 170, near where he first left the sedan in the initial pursuit before this carjacking and kidnapping happened with the F-150 near Lankershim in Burbank. But he's going some high speeds over there, and he does have some units behind him. Of course, the police helicopter, our helicopter overhead, and so all eyes are on him, and it's possible that we actually know that there is a person other than the person in pursuit, the suspect there, in the car with him.
Looks like Osborne.
Yeah, we're off at Osborne here, picking up the Osborne off-ramp here to see which way he's going. And coming down to the bottom, be Osborne. Let's see which way he's going to look like. He's going to be at eastbound Osborne. And made the turnaround. Now westbound Osborne, back underneath the 5. Maybe he's going to get back on. Nope, didn't get on there. And now there's 2 ramps on the other side of the freeway to see which way he goes here. He's going to take that one. No, let's go take this one. And there he goes, back north or southbound 5 freeway, kind of fishtailing coming around the corner as he did that. We're going to spin Sky 5 around 5, just make a pedal turn, and spin Sky 5 around and pick up the southbound 5 freeway. So that Osborne turn there. So I don't know if he's just trying to get distance on these police cars or what he's trying to do. maybe trying to do that little move he did before that he got away the first time. But right now he's really back and forth through the area here, now coming back up to the 170. And here we go, coming up. He's got that black and white. Actually, it's a plain car. It looks like he's going to take the 170 now, coming along here as he's over to the right. I don't know. Let's see what he's going to do. There's the 170. Okay. I always worry about when I say he's going to take one freeway, and all of a sudden he just snaps the wheel and off he goes. Now they're making our sweep around the turn here, southbound 170 from the 5 freeway, and that's where the original pursuit started in the sedan, coming northbound on the 170 from the 101 area, and then getting off at Sherman Way. So kind of going back to where he all started from here. So as you said, Cher, sometimes these guys have the tendency to run back to a familiar area. And it is also, it's not that they're just looking for someplace to run, is that they feel more comfortable when they get in an area they know the roads. Because you can tell once they get off their beaten path or they get into an unfamiliar area, their driving changes up a little bit. But right now, he's just going to continue here southbound through Van Nuys and the Burbank area, down into North Hollywood, now here on the South 170.
Yeah, a lot of indecision for a driver that we assume would know the roads. He spent the bulk of his time running from the authorities in the valley here, but can't seem to make up his mind as to which way he wants to go. It makes you wonder how much of an impact the hostage in this F-150 may or may not be having on the direction of this truck and the behavior of the driver. We saw him stop at one point. We thought we might be seeing the end, some sort of surrender. He paused for a few moments, a few seconds, and then took off again. Possibly a chance for the hostage to get out. You don't know. Tim, we can ask if the windows are tinted, if you've been able to see anything from your viewpoint. I know sometimes your screen might show something a little bit different than ours in terms of the brightness, but it looks as though there's nothing to see, certainly from our vantage point.
Yeah, it's just a little difficult, especially with at night like this and as dark it is in those cars. And normally you got tinted windows. You can see the instrument cluster through the window there, but if we go in a little tighter with our digital doubler or our optical doubler, it will just turn really dark. So right now we're just going to kind of stick with here. We're just kind of keeping track of what the LAPD is saying on their radios as far as the information they're giving out to them there, but. We haven't really had a chance to get enough light to get down there. Plus, we have 2 police aircraft below us. We have the LAPD and now the CHP aircraft overhead as well. So they're coordinating with their respective agencies. So we are giving them a lot of room here. I'm staying up pretty high here to let them operate below us and do what we need to do and let them do what they need to do. So it's very coordinated effort between the media ships and the police ships up here. So when it comes to an end, they depend on us to give them room to work and also to keep an eye on the suspects coming out, because sometimes they don't always able to keep an eye on them because of the way the guy's running. So right now we're just going to continue here. South 170, we just went through Sherman Way, working our way down back towards the 101. And once we get down to the interchange here, we'll have to see which way he's going to go from there. But yeah, his driving picks up as soon as they get a little closer to him, and you saw a couple swerves there getting back on the freeway from Osborne. So, big old turn right there, getting off to the right. This is just north of the 101. I'm not sure if that's Burbank or not. It's just the street parallel the 101 north, making the eastbound turn. Oh, wrong way, coming underneath the freeway here, and coming out, popping out. What street, Chris? And as we continue here, and east here along, we'll get the name of the street here for a second. I think they said Camarillo is the street he's on now. He's approaching Lankershim, which will be a big intersection ahead of him. Lots of traffic coming south and now thinning out just a little bit. We'll see what happens when he gets here. This will be the big intersection of Lankershim, and he's making the northbound turn now, or southbound turn. He spun there just a little. San Marino, he's calling this Lankershim. I don't believe this is Lankershim. Vineland, actually, yeah, Vineland. Going underneath the 101 freeway. Lankershim's a little bit east of this, through that intersection there. Yeah, I'm watching it before you see it happen. I can see the cars. Oh, man. Yeah, just these cars have no idea this guy's coming. And as he's coming back towards the 101 here, going underneath through the signal there, a car coming off the freeway. Hopefully he'll miss. Oh, on the wrong side of the street, just barely missed that car. Now we're coming up as we continue on. Ventura is where this freeway or this road is going to terminate. We'll see which way he's going to go. We're at T's intersection there as we approach.
Are there units behind him right now?
Oh, yeah, no, actually, he peeled them off a ways back, so they're just passing the 101 freeway as he makes this westbound turn on Ventura. Yeah, the units are a good quarter mile behind him. He kind of peeled them off with that move coming off the freeway. So, and just continuing it on through the turns here from the 170 freeway as we come around here, just kind of fishtailing through this turn westbound on Ventura. And I'm trying to keep track of them on the scanner as well as where we're exactly at. And so as we continue on here, yeah, very populated area down in this point. A lot of people, a lot of traffic, a lot of foot traffic in this area, even though it's late at night here at 10:30. Anyway, so continuing on here on Ventura Boulevard.
And like you say, these people that are on the road have no idea what's coming at them whatsoever. And that's why I'm wondering if there are any units behind him, because then at least there would be some kind of warning for people to pull over and let this pursuit go through and avoid accidents. Some at least give a chance to avoid accidents. But he's been blowing through all of these intersections at a high speed here in Studio City, I believe now we are in. And with no regard whatsoever for life or property. Again, this is a man that has, or this is a suspect that was wanted for a stolen car originally in a sedan, who then foot-bailed that sedan on the northbound 170 Sherman Way area right under the freeway, and then carjacked this F-150 and has now been in pursuit for about 20 to 30 minutes. Weaving in and out of the Burbank area, going around in circles from the 101 to the South 405 to the 118 freeway to the 5 South, and now he's here on surface streets. And Micah, it is frightening to watch this man go, or watch this suspect go through the surface streets here. You know, and as you see, they're pedestrians.
Right in front of him, right in front of him. And this is why you want to see these things on the freeway, for exactly this reason. Pedestrians, one, cross traffic, another. Very dangerous situation. At least on a freeway, everybody's going in the same direction.
Yeah, we're on Coldwater Canyon approaching the 101 again. You turn back to the north using the center divider and the wrong side of the street here, passing traffic. And yeah, I saw that pedestrian walking like he wasn't going to stop walking, and then all of a sudden this guy came right up to him. Luckily, presence of mind, the guy was able to stop and not run him over. But now we're getting on the 101 freeway westbound from Coldwater Canyon, and we've been at this part before with him as well. In fact, this is where we finally caught up with him when we first came to air, so with the second part of this pursuit. So it's been all over the valley here, and like I said, hanging pretty much in the same area. Blacked out again here on the freeway, back over to the number 1. And like we said before, like these cars have no idea this guy's coming, and you make your little bit of lane change in front of him, not knowing this F-150 is coming up behind you at 100 miles an hour. You could get rear-ended very easily. Now his lights are back on, but oh man, this has been a pursuit that we haven't seen in a long time. And I can tell you that the CHP, LAPD are behind him by about a quarter mile. I'm trying to look out my window and gauge where it is from them, because he's a little hard to pick out on the ground. There he is. Okay, they're about at least a quarter mile behind. So right now we're moving back into the Van Nuys airspace and continue on here.
So Tim, we believe this is a Ford F-150. It looks, under the brief flashes of streetlights that we've seen, that it may be a high-performance version of an F-150. Of course, that's relative to the sedan he was driving before. And again, these trucks aren't designed to handle the sort of driving that he's doing. You have to guess he's coming up close to 100 miles an hour, maybe a little less.
Yeah, exactly. And the freeway traffic now is out here probably about 75, 80. You can see how fast he's passing traffic. And yeah, I'm not sure on the model of this Ford F-150. Oh, he's going to split traffic. Oh, I thought he was going to hit that one car. But yeah, problem is that they're very light in the tail end, and he's going to get whipping around here and get that tail end to come around on him. And unfortunately, the end of that's going to be a problem. But now, luckily, like you said, Micah, back on the freeway, at least everybody's going the same direction, and we're not going to have that T-bone in the middle of an intersection as we come around. So, yeah, it's quite a driving feat by this guy so far not to have lost control.
And let's not forget that there's a person inside here other than the suspect. There's somebody that he carjacked and is going through all the surface streets, the freeways, and all the turns that he's been doing for the last, 20, 30 minutes of this pursuit. That's sitting there with him, terrified.
Right.
And now he's getting off on the 405, is that it?
Looks like
the 405
north.
northbound freeway here. 405 northbound as we continue around, and for the desk, fuel state is about 1 hour. I have about 1 hour left. So they were asking our endurance here. But, yeah, we're going back northbound 405 from the 101. Gonna have to drop it down here just a little bit to get underneath the traffic for Burbank Airport. And as we continue on here, this is very dangerous is what he's doing, and it's just a matter of time before he runs out of talent. I mean, overdrives his talent to where he loses this thing. And, it's been very hair-raising for us up here to watch it and continuing on. But for those guys that are on the ground trying to keep up with it, they're doing everything they can on the ground to get around traffic and not hit anybody, trying to stay up with this guy. But right now, we're just, tracking him along back northbound 405 freeway, coming up to the Sherman Way here in a little bit as we make this turn. But, the same run we did before. We came up this way to the 118, then went east 118, and you see where he's blacked out here in the earlier footage that we shot. It's just really, you can see zipping around traffic, coming through intersections, and nearly striking vehicles, losing control. This is the sedan he was in earlier that he bailed out of. I got you. He bailed out of the car right there at Hollywood Way and the 5 freeway. So, and then right there you see the officers, and they're pointing back to the east or to the west on Hollywood Way, and that's when they found out the information from Burbank PD that he had carjacked this car. So, right now we're back northbound 405 freeway here, approaching Sherman Way, and it looks like he was going to take that right side and didn't get off. But and now he's going to get off. Slowing up. And here we go. Let's see what's going to happen here. This looks like it's going to be westbound Sherman Way off. And let's see if he takes the west or if he makes the turn and goes back east. 5's coming to a stop. And here we go. And back. Okay, westbound on Sherman Way. And this will bring him back right under Van Nuys Airport if he continues on. Let's see what he does. Coming up to the intersection. And there he goes. He's through there. And here's he coming down towards the freeway. Or towards the airport.
For a second there, you could see the passenger in a white shirt, it looked like, or something like that. They're moving around there in the passenger seat.
Well, if I... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying, yeah, if I was in this car, I'd be moving around too. Okay, through Sepulveda here. Actually, that's not Sepulveda. Through Woodley there as we come up to the air... As we come underneath the runway of the airport. Now, this is... wonder what he's going to do here, because there are units behind him. So if he does bail out, they're going to have units all over him. So underneath the runways of Van Nuys Airport, coming up to Balboa, which is going to be the first street he comes to here on the west side of the airport. Through there, luckily no cross traffic, and traffic up here is a little bit lighter on this side of the valley. And now I'm going to try to get a peek here if I can get around this one area that he's down off to my side. If I get a little peek in there, we'll see. Coming through these lights here at the next intersection, maybe we can get a look at what's going on here. And coming up on a good green, he's on the brakes, trying to figure out which way he's going to go. Hooking southbound here. And now we're southbound. What?
Yeah, we can very clearly see someone in the passenger seat of this pickup truck as this driver now wants to be on surface streets. Very, very dangerous, especially considering the reckless behavior that he's been showing along the freeways, on surface streets, back on the freeways. Can't seem to make up his mind as to where he wants to go.
Okay,
and frankly, driving in circles in the valley. He's been on the 101, the 405, the 170, the 118. He's been all over, and frankly, finding himself back here in the Lake Balboa area on surface streets. Who knows what he's up to? It's not a rational chain of thinking by any means based on what we've seen. He's trying to find some way to slip the authorities. He nearly had him the first time when he jumped out of that sedan underneath the overpass of the freeway. You felt as though for several minutes there, authorities didn't know where he'd gotten away to. There was talk that he may have run into the wash that was adjacent to the freeway, and then all of a sudden authorities flip the other way and start racing out toward the Burbank airport, where I understand Burbank police cited that carjacking there in the pickup truck, and that's what we've been watching ever since for the better part of 45 minutes here, still on surface streets. Tim, is LAPD still the lead agency?
Yeah, right now it looked like LAPD, but it's a mixture. They got LAPD and CHP, and I haven't heard CHP get off. We just turned back east on Sherman Way, going to go underneath the runways again, back east on Sherman Way. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mixture. I'm not sure exactly what units are in behind him, but I haven't seen anybody really close. There's a whole train of police cars, coming around the corner now. So there's one that's a little bit closer, but right through the intersection there. Luckily, nobody was crossing that intersection. And here we go, continuing on. And it looks like there's a white police car directly behind him. I can't tell who that is, but we're coming back up on the 405 freeway here. We'll see what happens when we get to the 405. This has been a wild one, man. We haven't had a pursuit like this in a long time, where they're doing so much driving around in the same area. Okay, U-turn. No, he's just going to use the wrong way here, just prior to the freeway, and then made that northbound. Oh, northbound turn. Almost got that car in the turn, forcing his way through traffic. Here we're just on the. Okay, there's the off-ramp for the 405 freeway. So we're just kind of parallel on the 405 freeway, northbound on the west side as we come around here. So now is, the time when we could have that accident we were talking about at these intersections zipping around. So unfortunately, it's the fact of what happens during these pursuits, and they're doing their darndest to not get too far behind. Now our eastbound turn again here. Back towards the 405. Go ahead, Sheriff.
And this is on surface streets where we would at least see a pit maneuver or spike strips, correct?
Yeah, but he's going way too fast for the pit maneuver, and his changing of direction, it would make it almost impossible to get a spike strip out in front of him. Even though he's gone down the same streets a couple times, it's always been either on the freeway or like this. We're probably at a good through a big bump there, going through that was Van Nuys we just went through there. As we continue, actually, that was Sepulveda, and continuing on here on Sherman Way, working its way along towards Van Nuys. Yeah, it'd be too hard to get ahead of him. Like right now, if there would happen to be Van Nuys units sitting up here at Van Nuys Boulevard and Sherman Way, they could possibly get it out there, but he really going so fast that it's really, really hard. So we're trying to watch here for this car to see any smoke coming off the brakes, but he's coming up to Van Nuys right now, wrong side of the street, uses the center divider, coming up to the intersection, and see what's going to happen. Oh, shoot, there's going to be a building in the way. They got to get ahead here. Okay. And made the transition here, and he's coming to the intersection. Okay, southbound, I believe this is Van Nuys. Yeah, Van Nuys Boulevard. Round the corner, and we're just going to sit here and wait for him to come by. 5's turning to the south. And so as we come along here, center divider, very little traffic. Going to come back up to, I'm coming on here. Let's see what he does. Another turn the wrong side of the street. That's on Valerio now from Van Nuys. So he's kind of working the area here into the residential track on Valerio as he moves along here. Now it's a little stop sign, red lights here, no traffic. And southbound.
As crazy as this is, we have to remember he has a hostage inside that car.
Oh, absolutely. And he hit some bump. In fact, I think he came down this street in the sedan that he was chasing. Now he's going to the wrong side of the street. He's going to be passing the car. And he's on Tyrone here. And I know we came down this street in the sedan pursuit, coming back out here to Sherman Way. Now turned eastbound Sherman Way. He was on Santacoy earlier. Now eastbound Sherman Way, and from Tyrone. And so here we go back towards Burbank. And as we continue on here, just through these intersections, luckily that was a green light there as we went through, and continuing on center divider. But Sharon, Micah, this thing is just really just out of control. I mean, the way he's driving, he's not holding up. And I said, for that poor hostage that's in there, I can't imagine what's going through their mind as he blasts through these intersections. I mean, just driving along, minding their own business, and all of a sudden they get carjacked, and now they're in the middle of a high-speed pursuit. But luckily the street lights are with him right now. You see the LAPD area unit right there trailing him with the night sun on, keeping track of him. And as you said, Cher, there's no police cars around him to warn the people on the ground there's a pursuit coming their way. It's just right now, just the area unit there, and half the time people just look up at the area unit, see what he's doing, and not see it. But here he goes, wrong side of the street, passes that car. Oh man, on the right, switching back in. Oh, you see, almost went head on with that guy coming westbound. So here we come, continuing here on Sherman Way, heading up here. Let's see what he does if he makes a turn here. Yeah, northbound turn.
His tail end got a little fishy there for a moment, and that's the risk driving a truck like this. It's not meant for this sort of thing. Although he is equipped to jump medians, which he seems to have a tendency to want to do, and he's done several times. But this truck managing those with no problem.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you kind of trade one for the other, and he jumped a median in a sedan and kind of disabled it a little bit. Okay, here's another little slide turn, sliding around. Looks like a plane car that's behind him now, right on his tail, and keeping a close watch on him. Now, the pit maneuver, like we were talking about earlier, he's going too fast for that, and he's not giving him the opportunity. Unless he loses a little bit of control and slows way down, then that unit's going to have to be very quick to get up on it. Now, and the unmarked car, I don't believe they're pit qualified. So, or pit authorized. So it has to be an officer that is qualified and authorized to do the pit. And now there's two units behind him, this unmarked car, and a couple black and whites behind him. I'm going to let him fly underneath this, and I'm just going to pick him up here southbound, coming up here to the intersection. And Chris hanging with him real well on the camera here. We make the turn. As he makes the turn, looks like it's going to be back on what? There he goes. He's on Sherman Way now, going over the 170. So I'm just right on top of him, have just pirouette around, trying to stay with him and keep track of the other area units around me. So yeah, it's quite an effort for us up here in the air, as well as the poor guys in that pursuit on the ground. And I tell you what, that LAPD area unit's doing a great job sticking with him. And the air traffic control guys, I got to, and girls here, I really got to give them a lot of credit, because they are helping us out quite a bit with getting us through their airspace and helping us out with separation from any inbound traffic. And so far, so hopefully, and we heard that no inbounds into Burbank right now, because I'm right off the end of runway 8, which is the arrival runway. And like I said, they're doing a great job helping us out as we continue on here. And here we go, still going southbound, coming, I believe this is back on Coldwater again.
Blowing through another red light.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's been blowing red lights just routinely. And actually, I corrected. This is Laurel Canyon going through North Hollywood here as we continue on, just really cooking along, coming up on another light. It's green for him right now, but we'll see what happens when he gets through the intersection and he clears that intersection. It'll be coming back up to the 170. So, and now the officer's in pursuit. I mean, the guys on the ground, they have to really be careful and keep their emotions in check, not to get missile lock, as we call it, on that back end of the truck and just overdrive and end up hitting somebody. And it's unusual that we have a plane car in the pursuit. Whoa, a little side slide into the pole.
That's trouble.
Boom, into the building.
Gosh.
Yeah, ran and see what happens here. Door open, passenger. Oh man, here comes the suspect. He's there. He's hiding behind the car. No, he's on the other side of the car, guys. There, he's running. Okay, southbound on Laurel Canyon. No, he's not going to get far. And, yeah, he's doing a stiff-legged run. The LA Air Unit right on him, and the hands are going up. And here's a couple of officers going to take him down, and down he goes. Oh, man. I'm sure glad this ended the way it did, because it could have ended a lot worse. LAPD air units, or ground units, now on him and got him into custody. And maybe before a slide, keep an eye down the slide back, see what happened to that victim. Back here, we'll kind of look back here and see what's going on with her, checking her out, making sure they're okay. LAPD's checking on them. Looks like they have her in custody, actually. 5's going to slide back to the north. And we'll kind of see what's going on, because maybe the only problem with this is, well, the only problem with this, there's been so many changes of guys on the ground and things of that sort that the information may not have got to them. Yeah. But they have a pretty good-sized guy here in a white T-shirt, so
yeah,
looks like we're going to slide around here.
Could have been a hostage, but Tim, just as likely could have been an accomplice. I mean, this guy was on the run for a good amount of time. And from the video that we saw in the initial pursuit, he was using his cell phone as he was driving, clearly trying to make as many plans to get away as possible. You just don't know. Hostage, maybe, but accomplice, maybe just as likely at this point.
And the thing is that when he, in the first pursuit, when he crashed the sedan, he was under the freeway, so we didn't see what happened between those moments where he was on foot, bailed on foot, and then all of a sudden ended up in this F-150 and on the run again. So, like you said, it could very well be an accomplice, but at this point, they're going to put that person in custody because they don't know exactly what's going on. If it's a hostage, if it's he was carjacked, or, as you said, Micah, possibly an accomplice.
What an incredible turn of events, Tim.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this situation, I mean, it was just really... And the description that we heard from the guy that bailed out of the car, even though we didn't see it, another media helicopter did see it, and we have the ability to, what we call, re-rack the footage and look at it, and the male with a bald head was the one driving the sedan. And you see what you have right there? So hopefully we can... they could figure this out completely with the ground units, the Burbank units that were involved. And right now, luckily, it is over. No civilians really hurt in this case. They have 2 people stopped in custody right here. And definitely the guy that took off out of the driver's side, he was in the mode of, I got to get away. So definitely, consciousness of guilt fleeing like that. And this guy here, unknown. But the information that we were getting at the beginning of this is that the hostage was in the car, and like
they're not treating him like a hostage.
Oh no, they're not. No, they're not. And the thing is, we don't know. We have to go with what we hear, and very well there could have been a female right between them, because we were hearing a female at one point, and then that definitely was a carjack, and that Burbank PD was in pursuit. So, we're on the fly here. It's a fluid situation. We're going with the information we have, and you know what? We do the best we can up here, and luckily on this one. It all came to an end on a very good way. Suspect only crashed and not hurting anybody else.
What a sigh of relief, honestly, as we were watching this go on for the better part of our hour here on the news and during this broadcast. And, the suspect is weaving in and out of traffic on surface streets, going also, on the wrong side of the road, and blowing through red lights, and then going onto the freeway. And it was just at such a high speed. It really was frightening to watch, and also knowing that there was somebody else in that car that we thought possibly was a hostage.
Yeah, it had great potential to end tragically, and fortunately it has not. And not to be overlooked in all of this, Tim, is the remarkable piece of police work here, multi-agency from the air and the ground, staying on this guy for over an hour, much of it over 100 miles an hour as he was moving along the freeways, and to stay as close as they could to him on those surface streets for as long as they did. And, from the officers I've talked to in situations like this, one of their greatest challenges, and you mentioned it, Tim, is keeping their emotions in check and remaining calm, specifically the driver that is right behind that suspect as he's blowing through red lights at 70 miles an hour on surface streets.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking at on your screen there is what we've got right. That's where the pursuit ended, right there in a crash. And we were talking throughout the pursuit how he's on an F-150 and it fishtails, and it's not really one of those cars that could manage one of these kinds of high-speed pursuits. And it did just that at the very end, then crashing into that light pole.
Tim, the police work.
Okay.
He's hearing from other people right now.
I hear you. Mike. You said the police work. Yeah, this is hard. I mean, what these guys did down here, you have LAPD, CHP, Burbank PD, all of which are on different frequencies. The only guy that can talk to all 3 of those agencies is that air unit TFO, or the flight officer, tactical flight officer above, and he's trying to manage all 3 radios to keep everybody in communication or in informed on what's going on and where it's at. And that guy who's right behind him in the pursuit, is the one who's doing his best to keep eyes on, but then again to continue safely and not end up crashing himself. But man, a great job by LAPD, Burbank, and CHP here coming to an end of this pursuit of this carjack suspect and auto theft suspect.
Yeah,
so let me send it back down to you.
Tim, thank you. One suspect and possibly two in custody. A person we believe may have been a hostage, perhaps a suspect. More on the other side of the break.
And now northbound 5 freeway. Really picking up the speed here, northbound 5 freeway, coming up to Hollywood Way again. The 3 pursuits we've had here in the last hour. And so this has really been kind of an active evening here. See, just really flying along, passing traffic. 5's over on the west side. Continuing along. LAPD area, and it's the only one with him right now. At one point they did lose him, and we were able to direct Air 16 back to the vehicle. He dropped off a female right next to the airport, and right off Clybourne, and now on the run here. You see her just blasting through traffic, making the turn here, continuing northbound on the 5 freeway here. Still coming along northbound 5 freeway, coming up to Lankershim. And here as we go, continuing on in the HOV lane here, making its way around. This will take us right back up into the area where the other pursuit was. And this one here is really at high speeds on the 5 freeway. I would estimate probably in the 100-mile-an-hour range right now, from what I can tell from my airspeed and the ground vehicles there. And continuing around as we approach, coming through Sheldon will be the next off ramp that he could hit, and working his way northbound, just using all lanes of traffic to keep his speed up. There are no police cars that I can see within sight, so it's all LAPD right now. Still all LAPD area right now as we approach the 170 here. That's going to be Sheldon right there. He's going under, and then he'll make the turn here. We'll put him onto the one right under the 170 where it joins the northbound 5 freeway here through Arleta and Pacoima border. Merged onto the 5 freeway here. The next ramp will be Brantford. We'll see what he does here. He's going around traffic, just using all lanes to maintain his speed. As you can see, they're using the shoulder as well. And now traffic will be coming in from his left. As we continue on here, LAPD area staying right with him, coming up to Osborne. And not really sure what the want on this was. We have to get information from our desk to see exactly, but we were on another story after breaking off that last pursuit, and then this one drove right under us, right at the 170 and about Victory. Hey, Simon Desk Guy 5, what was the want on this one? Did you get it? You see pushing around the... say it again? Okay, copy stolen. And you can see and we've just been advised by our assignment desk that it's a stolen vehicle, and coming up to Van Nuys Boulevard here. Northbound 5 freeway, approaching the 118. He's just in and out of traffic using all lanes. And here he goes, passing cars in the HOV lane. Now he's coming up to the 118. And he's looks like he's going to be committed to the 5 freeway unless he makes a big dive to the right. Really high rate of speed here, as you see. Continuing along and passing the 118 freeway. At Chris, my photographer, said it looked like he might be on a cell phone. You can see through the window. As we continue along here, no ground units on this pursuit. And still going through Paxton. He's over to the right lane here, kind of working his way north on the 5 freeway. And continuing here through Grand Street or Brand Street as we continue north here, making our way up into the Sylmar area. And very high rate of speed, like I said, going through traffic. Five copy. And they're asking for CHP's help now on this. Seeing it's on the freeway, and they have no ground units anywhere near this. I'm looking back. Oh, I see about 3 units, probably about a mile back, working their way northbound through traffic. Up. Just did a 405 merge right here. And continuing on, I see a police unit up ahead here, positioning himself at an on-ramp here. Now he's using the shoulder to get by traffic right there as he pushes along. And coming up to the next off-ramp here, we'll see what he does there. But there is a police car down below the freeway, kind of keeping an eye out to see which way he's going to go. He's holding the far right lane. This could be the exit lane. Yeah, it looks like he's taking the exit lane. And down the... Getting off at Roxford here off the 5 freeway. See which way he goes off Roxford. And it looks like he's going to making a left turn underneath the freeway, and he's nowhere to go here except back on the freeway. Yep, back on the freeway. Made that U-turn around underneath and back on the freeway southbound 5 freeway going back towards the 405. Got your 4 and 5 is going to slide over to the east side as well. Got both of you here. And coming up to the 405 split. And let's see what he does here, if he's going to take the 5 south or the 405 south. Looks like he's holding the 5 freeway. Yeah, he's committed to the 5. Continuing along here. Southbound 5. Really cooking along back here. And what these guys do is they'll go back and forth, working an area they know. Like the last group like the last guy we just chased, he ran through the same area about 3 or 4 times, and finally back off of Orion there, same area that he was in the alleys. He bailed out, and LAPD got one in custody very quickly, got the other one kind of hemmed up in an apartment building. So, they don't do it every time, but most of the time these guys kind of try to stay in an area they're familiar with. But this guy dropped off his girlfriend or a female off over by Van Nuys Airport, Burbank Airport, and then bailed out and left her there and took off again. Southbound 5 freeway here, HOV lane coming up to the 118. Continuing now, here's the 118 coming up. Under the 118. CHP says they're en route, but this guy's going so fast they're going to have to hopefully get somebody out in front of him here to catch up with him, because the units that were a mile behind him are now nowhere in sight. When he made that U-turn, they had a long way to go to make the U-turn to come back with him. So no ground units anywhere near this guy right now. It's LAP air unit all by himself calling the pursuit for him. And we're continuing south 5 freeway, coming through again the Pacoima-Arleta area, coming up to Terabella. Will be crossing over here in a second. Next off-ramp he's going to have will be Osborne. Yeah, coming up to Osborne. And heading down, next off ramp will be Brantford as we did the same run northbound. Taking him down to he's in the HOV lane. Now this could very easily put him on the 170. And that's where it started, on the 170 coming northbound. He got off at Sherman Way, took Sherman Way east towards Burbank, and then got back on the 5 freeway. He's out of the HOV lane, and we're coming up to he's just running around traffic. Looked like we're going to take nope, we're staying HOV lane for the 5 freeway. So you're continuing south 5 freeway. He thought he was going to take that flyover for the HOV, but continuing now eastbound or southbound 5 freeway from the 170. Sorry I'm so far back, but I got these two guys in front of me here. Anyway, he's continuing now southbound here, coming up to Lancashire. Blacked out. Oh man, blacked out on the freeway here. So people on the freeway are never going to see him coming, and that's the problem. There's no police cars around him and no issues like that. And so I mean, the problem is they're not going to know this guy's on him, and you might get a lane change on him. So we got to be really careful. Really. Oh, just cutting through traffic. They're passing that big rig here, southbound 5 freeway coming up to, let's see here. This is going to be, I believe, the Glen Oaks off-ramp. Just going right back down where he got on the freeway. So this is interesting here. This has all the earmarks of a real bad ending here with this blacked out, so people can't see him coming. You might end up with somebody just making a lane change for him. He's just blasting through traffic here. It's just amazing he's got as much running room as he does here on the 5 freeway. So it's quite a spectacle. He has a real wide sweep there going around that turn on the freeway, and off to the right shoulder here, and right shoulder, holding that right shoulder up against the sound wall. We're coming up to Hollywood Way. Yep, Hollywood Way again. And coming down Hollywood Way to the bottom to see how much brakes he has left when he gets to the bottom of this ramp. And on the brakes hard, sliding through, right through the delineators there, back underneath the freeway, North Hollywood Way. And he stopped. All right, back. Yeah, there he is. Cars. They're pointing back to the east, running. The people are pointing back to the east. And I don't know if there's people right there may have. There might be. They got citizens helping out here, saying he ran towards the Shell station here. I got you. Anyways, working. Heard information from witnesses. He went in. Down the wash. There's the one down. Where's Vermont Inn's not right here, is it? Yeah, I thought Vermont is back up the. We had nobody come out of our side. What's that? No, none of us had him come out. Man. Yeah. Well, they say they said he disregard the the southbound or westbound, if you want to call it. Yeah, because we stayed on the east side. We didn't see him come out the east side, right? Unless he just button hooked. Oh, there you are. Forgot I had a news show coming up. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, which pursuit? Oh, I didn't get. No, where is it? Go to Burbank. Roger. Okay. Well, I can tell you, Ben, this was a very wild pursuit. You can see that black car wedged up on the sidewalk right under the 5 freeway here at Hollywood Way. The suspect was speeding all through the Burbank Van Nuys, went all the way up into Sylmar on the 5 freeway, came back down, got off here. But at one point, when we first picked it up, he bailed out, had a female bail out of the car right by Burbank Airport, and then he took off. And now we're getting reports that Burbank PD possibly is chasing the suspect because they lost sight of him. They were so far behind this pursuit that they couldn't get to the guy, and he bailed out on foot and took off running. And so right now we're getting reports from Burbank PD that he's being chased by Burbank PD right now. We're going to keep an eye right here and then try to go over and catch that pursuit. But right now, this stolen vehicle, very high rate of speed through the area, coming to an end right here at Hollywood Way and the 5 freeway. The suspect outstanding and now getting reports of him had carjacked another vehicle and is being pursued by Burbank PD. So we'll try to catch up with that and bring that to you as well. So that's the latest from over Burbank. Lisa, back to you. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Copy. And 5's breaking off from the group here, heading south. I got him down there. And Tower TV5, we're breaking off from up here at Hollywood Way, and the 5 heading down to the south of the others. Okay. Okay, we got the air unit. We'll catch it. Westbound Magnolia. Copy. Okay, and you said he took an Ford 150, and they, hearing him talk about it, it's westbound Magnolia. Do you have Burbank up yet? I don't know. I'm just flying in on the air units here. We had him on camera here a second ago. Yeah, we're hearing it. We're hearing he's approaching the 170. We got him down here to the south. He's real high rate of speed. It's on the 134. Five's coming in behind you, 7. You got an airship over you. Yeah. Okay, Deb, if you hear me, we're back with the suspect here. Hey, just confirming Nydia that this is the suspect. Okay. Location is now 134 from the 170. Possible carjacking with a victim in the car.